Something's not right.
Safe, cause I hope one day you'll get the sense to call me. I'm hoping that you'll say you're missing me the way I'm missing you. So I'll keep your number safe, cause I hope.
Hey, how's it going, beautiful? I love the hair. Oh my god.
My story is, I was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder at 2 years old. I wasn't supposed to talk, but here I am, talking, all thanks to God on this one. But the thing is, I realized I had a purpose, and I couldn't just let this story be for me, but let it be for the kids that are growing up in today's society that have autism. It's gonna, those seeds that were planted in his heart, it's gonna go to fruition. I believe that one day he's gonna be talking and we're gonna see each other again. I haven't seen Buddy since January because he got enrolled back to school, and I'm really proud of him. And I really hope that he does well.
Statement yet causes men to stumble. Not swag that's cocky and arrogant in my flesh. My swag is not cool sayings to gain praise from others to validate myself. Not swag that has a foul mouth speaking death with my tongue. My swag bangs bloods cause I wear Christ's blood on me daily, cleansing me of my sin. I represent Christ's side, not West side. I carry my cross every day, not just a cute juicy or Louis. I don't wear makeup to cover up my internal insecurities. I give them to God and He takes care of me. My swag is my inner beauty shining Christ's glory. My swag draws the hurting to me to comfort, love, and encourage. My swag doesn't dress to kill, causing darkness and acting seductive, twerking and leading men and women's souls to hell. My swag gives that everlasting life with my morals, character, and integrity. I talk, walk, act, and dress to imitate Jesus Christ who lives within me. My swag doesn't come from me, but the one who came, lived, died, and rose, and who now lives today within me. Swag, saved with amazing grace. Moses, you know God is giving you your unforgettable burning bush moment. See, we can't go back to our past and our old sins. The new us can't survive there anymore. It's dead, a wasteland, a desert, and we're more. We're so much more than that. We're meant to thrive, fly high, be light, dominate, innovate, inspire, and produce good fruits. We all have gifts and talents that need to be put to good use. I said we all have gifts and talents that need to be put to good use. So what's your excuse? Is it fear, worry, shame, or doubt? It's okay. I've been there too. But now it's time to rise to new heights, new levels, experience challenges of different strokes. It's time to run to adversity and climb. The harvest is ready, y'all. Let's get it. It's go time. Thank you.
You guys are doing good. I love it. I love it. Let's give a round of applause for everyone who's hit the stage so far. You guys, that was absolutely amazing.
Give to the world. That's what makes us special, is the things that God has, well, I believe in God. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. The things that I feel like God has allowed us to go through, and what we have experienced allowed to shape us. And so the poem that I'm going to be doing is called Exposed. I wrote this last year, and it was only a poem, and then it turned into a play. And so I didn't get to put the play out last year, but it will be released this year, summertime, after I get my master's degree. And so I'm really excited for this play, and I'm going to read you the poem. I think it's really important to expose yourself, because people don't know your process unless sometimes you just allow people in and allow yourself to be vulnerable, and even to talk about those things that are really uncomfortable. And I want to perform And my boyfriend has never seen this, and he is not in here. Oh, there he is. Okay, great. So I think it's really important to just be able to talk about those things that make you cringe and that you think that nobody else has ever experienced, because it allows the world to know that they're not alone, and that what you went through wasn't necessarily for you, but it was for somebody else.
I've been running through these.
Like a slower thing. I remember the first time you called me ugly.
Thank you.
You looked me right in the eye and told me that you could never like me because of the color of my skin. I didn't know I was different. I didn't know that I was considered unworthy of being liked until you told me. I was just a little girl. I didn't know that your skin meant beautiful and my skin was systematically taught to the world to be exactly what I felt.
Come on.
Ugly. I remember when you came into the room while we were napping and you touched me. And not the friendly touch that made you feel comfortable or loved. No, you touched me because you could. You pulled me away to your hideaway spots and you forced me to kiss you, to play house with you. You forced me to never tell and live in fear of my parents finding out. I remember. I remember you worked all the time, that you provided for us, but we never really sat down and just had girl talk. That I could never just open up and tell you how I felt. The crazy thoughts I would have in my head, I kept them to myself. I remember being left at home with our parents while our parents were at work. We lived in a big house with all the spiders. We both sat and watched TV quietly, not talking too much, but just watching. I remember kissing each other. We did not know what we were doing, but we did it. It only happened a few times, but it haunts my brain. Too dirty to be talked about, too upsetting to think on, but we did it. We kissed each other and pretended like nothing ever happened. I remember you. You made me feel special. Being the middle child, I never got all of the attention, but you were like my very godmother. You saw me. You spoiled me. You just wanted to spend time with me. We shared a birthday, July 22nd, the exact same day. We were connected. But then you died. Stabbed by your husband again and again. It wasn't fair. I remember. I remember the first time you rejected me. We were sisters, always told that we should be best friends, but we never were. I remember how you always chose your friends over me, feeling as if you never stood up for me. You never would let me in. Your walls were impenetrable, and the only way I could get over them was to sneak in through the back door. I remember. I remember the first time I tried to take my life. The first time in my life feeling like my heart was truly broken, betrayal, not having control over my emotions. At this age, everything seemed like the end of the world. I swallowed as many pills as I could, just wanting to end the pain inside my chest, the raving thoughts of rejection inside my head. Anything was better than this. I just wanted to be dead. I remember when you used to fight. I remember we would be so scared, individually experiencing our own things. We were powerless against the stench of anger that lay thick in the air. When you hit her, we couldn't understand why. When you spat out words of hatred, we couldn't take the words and forget that they were ever said. I hate you, you bitch! The next day, you asked for forgiveness. Confused as to why God made it just that easy to ask for forgiveness, just to go right back on doing the same thing you always did. I remember. I remember not knowing if God really loved me. I remember the rejection, crying myself to sleep, the condemnation I heaped on myself, asking myself, how could God ever love a person like me? How could he forgive me when I continued to disobey him? I turned my earthly father into my heavenly father, believing that if I let him down, he also would take back his love. That he would be so angry at me that only with time could my sin really be forgiven and not brought up again. I remember you leaving me. You didn't want to stick around. A life without me was better than any life with me. I get it. I'm dramatic, says my mother. I'm ugly, says the boy. I'm too much. I'm an angry, raging bitch that you don't really love. I get it, so you leave. You wipe your feet of me and leave me alone with our newborn and the unborn child in my womb. As your friend watched me beg and plead for you to stay, he laughed at me knowing your mind had already been made up. We came from two different worlds, you Arab, me black, remembering your last words as you walked out the door. I just don't feel like I'm Arab anymore. I need to be with my own culture. You were my husband, but I just wasn't enough. But the black coworker that you left me for was. I remember the day I gave you up. June 3rd, 2013. I no longer valued my life and I no longer found value in you. It was just too hard, I told myself. There was no way I could raise another child all by myself, so I killed you. I murdered my own child. I lost my humanity that day. I lost my mind. I remember when I tried to numb the pain, opening my legs to the first available caller, blinded by lust and brokenness. I used my body as a tool to be played with, my words as a seductive knife. I used my pain to be reckless, and the things I was too afraid to do, alcohol pushed me to. But then I remember finding you. I remember finding the real you. I didn't find you when everything was good, but I found you in my lowest, dirtiest, disgusted place. You picked me up. You comforted my soul. I lay before you, death consuming me, and in the quiet and in the tears, you resurrected my mind. You spoke life into me, caressing me with your words of life. I remember you redeemed me. I remember when I realized that you're the only man that truly ever loved me. Not a love that was given circumstantially, but a love that was endless. Your unconditional love is what I hold on to at night when I feel all alone. It soothes me in the darkness when demons try to drag my spirit off to hell. It gives me rest when my aching heart gets stepped on, dragged and cracked all over again. It is my comfort that lets me know that He will never leave me or forsake me. Before anything I experienced ever happened, you were spit on. You were beat. You sacrificed your life for mine. Nails were dug in your skin before I could remember. You were, you still are. So I give up what I remember and I rest in your love. Thank you.
My sunshine in the rain when it's pouring. Won't you give yourself to me? Give it all. I just wanna see. I just wanna see how beautiful you are. I am dangerous. I'm living dangerous. I am. This is dangerous, but I do.
Not you. You're not my wife, bro. We're not supposed to tell everyone about that yet. No, her in the back. So I wrote this song for her because I love her. And it's called Our Song. So if you love someone, you probably feel this way.
Technology itself as being just a neutral tool, right? Like the same with a hammer. A hammer can be destructive or constructive, right? And so media is and has been used for a very long time to control us and manipulate us and keep us in a state of fear. And while there are obviously examples of how that's been used in the other direction, I think that now more than ever, with the access to social media and the access to inexpensive, like so many people have an iPhone which shoots in 4K, right? Like we have the ability now to create media as individuals that goes out into the planet carrying a frequency of change and love. And so that's what we want to open up tonight in this space, is a conversation about that and a Q&A about that, and contribute our own unique codes to each other and elevate each other like a true tribe and community at some point. Often deep in integration from like a medicine ceremony, or after a workshop, or in a breakdown, or like, but in a real moment of true connection, that was said, and then that was put into film, and film was built around it. So the film was built around the frequency of truth. You get that?
Yeah. Truth lands in the body differently than something that's just made up because it sounds cool. There's a difference to it energetically. There's like a depth to it that we receive, even if it's not consciously, but it hits a chord in us differently. Well, it boils down to intention, right? Is the intention to get 1 million views? Is the intention to make money? Is the intention to get famous? Or is the intention to share an honest experience from that place of wanting to serve? And there's a huge difference in how it's going to land on the other side. And most of the media that we see is made with the intention of the first three. And what does it look like for the other category has fallen into like the starving artist category. Like if you want to make art that really like means something, you know, you're going to be basically living off food stamps. It's kind of like the story that the cultural narrative that we have around how that works. And yeah, this next piece that we're going to share with you was, so just to give you a little insight into kind of like my process. The mission statement piece came through in an instant. It was just like I heard the song and I was dancing actually, and like I just saw it. I saw like snippets of it, and this visionary quality, I guess you can call it, is something I'm cultivating and developing, and I'm recognizing it's one of my true superpowers, is the ability to channel and receive something that already exists on a higher dimensional plane, and it already exists in its entirety. And if I'm a vibrational match to it and my channel is clear, I can receive that information, I can receive those codes, and I can then translate that into this physical reality so I can share it with others. Now, in that translation process, because actually when I realized what was happening, I realized that I've been doing this my whole life. I just wasn't aware of it. But my whole life, my channel there was a lack of awareness, there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of insecurity, there was a lot of needing to be recognized and validated by others, and all of that would distort and dilute the original frequency. So by the time it came through, it wouldn't really resemble what it had been originally. How many of you have tried to create something that seemed like the best idea, and then when it was like finished, you're like, I don't know how that happened. Like something went wrong somewhere along the way.
So what I want to stress during this is this is a superpower that each and every one of you have. This is a superpower that every single human has, because the quantum field, if we're going to use it as that, right? Let me backtrack. Does anyone know what I mean when I say quantum field? Yeah? Does anyone not know? Would anyone like to refresh? Perfect. Okay. So right now, we're existing in what we would say is matter, right? Like the material world, third dimension, matter. Your atoms, right, that make up this matter, if you were to take an atom and blow it up into the size of an orange, the next closest atom would be 1 to 2 football fields away. So 99.999999% of everything is actually potential. It's energy. It's an energy field. It is not actually matter. 0.00001% of everything you are experiencing right now is actually matter.
Wow.
So, what that means is that we exist in a world of potential. 99.999% of it is potential. It is different frequencies of existence that when we observe, when our consciousness comes down and focuses on something, okay, it's called the observer effect. That's what brings the electron into form as actual matter. Reality are just languages, both attempting to explain the same thing, which is existence. And so they're not saying different things, they're saying the same thing. If they're not saying the same thing yet, it's because the languages haven't fully overlapped yet. And so, when we're talking about creating in this superpower, bringing it full circle now, back to what she was talking about, as a visionary, which you all are, what we're actually talking about is your ability to tap into the quantum field and tap into the vibrational signature of a different reality that you're not currently living, or the future timeline in which you've created this amazing project, and then become the space for that frequency to drop into your body. You embody that, and then your work becomes in removing all the shit that would get on top of that frequency by the time you've turned it into art. By the time you've turned it into something tangible in this world, the goal is for it not to pick up all the crap as it flows through your pipe. Okay?
And when he says art, like for us more and more, we're recognizing that this moment is art. Every single moment is your masterpiece. You're living your masterpiece, basically. You're always creating. You are a creator. You are an artist. Your life is the thing you are creating, whether you relate to it as that or not. But if you choose to relate to it as that, and you choose to wear that lens, suddenly everything changes, and how you look at life and how you look at another person changes. It becomes magical. And as you continue to deepen the belief that everything is magical and everything is art, life continues to confirm that. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we've been deep in that inquiry, in that space. And so...
Just thought about it today.
I'll just came in today. And so this piece is titled The Activation. And this piece came through about a year ago, after we went through what I would describe as a portal ceremony over the new year, and it came through similar to the mission statement, all just like in one go, and I got the full download. It's like a zip file, you know? And like, but I'm not given like the full thing right away. I'm given like pieces of it, and then I have to take action, and then the next piece is revealed. So it's like a scavenger hunt, basically, multi-dimensional scavenger hunt. And go ahead.
And so we had learned and distilled that piece about the mission statement, which is why did that resonate so deeply with people? It's because of that frequency of truth. So when she got this text, basically, that came through to her, this transmission that came through to her, And she approached me with it, and we decided to move forward with this piece of film content. We said, what would happen if we now intentionally went into the creation of this project with every stage of the filmmaking process being one where we do everything we can not to let any shit from the pipe get attached to the frequency. So from getting on set and literally saging the entire set and only bringing people onto the set who are in resonance, setting intention like we did here before we filmed any frames each and every day. Same thing with the editor, same thing with you even just did, even when you did the audio for this, going in and like setting up crystal grids to assist, like doing all the hippie shit that you possibly can. So that like the intention of every single step of the process and every single person who touches it, because that's the thing, especially when you look at corporations, every person in a corporation, their signature, their vibratory signature is in alchemy with everyone else's who's a part of that organization. And so the energy of an organization is impacted by every single other person. Similar to what I said here in the beginning, where we have a specific field because of who's here. If one of you wasn't here, the field would be different. And so the same thing when we're talking about art that involves anyone else. Anytime anyone is involved in a piece of art, their frequency gets into it. It filters in. And so we asked the question, what would happen if we were that intentional about every step and every person who touches this?
And fully committed to doing whatever it takes without any attachment.
And you're going to, along the way, you're going to imagine like you're walking this path, right? And you have this mountaintop that you see. And you're walking this path, and along the way, there's like these little other mountains, like you see this, and you're like, oh, there's another mountaintop, and it's like here instead of continue, like it's right here.
Right.
And basically, on the way to the vision that you see, you're going to be given so many other opportunities that are almost the frequency of what you originally are calling in. And so your work as an artist, as a creative, as the creator of your reality, is to continually check in with yourself and be in the frequency of what you really want, especially when the things that are almost what you want start appearing. And you're like, oh, I can just release it now with this opportunity, and it's not quite right. Like we had some people who were involved who really wanted to support us on the back end of this. And we're like, no, just release it and just put like sign up for future releases coming soon and just like build a list from it. And we're like, that's not enough. Like
It's not enough because this is literally the activation. So once you're activated, what next, right? And that was the big question. And once this was completed, it was like, I have no idea what comes next. Well, it's not true. I have a lot of ideas. I don't know which one is the one that's going to be that's going to vibrate at that same frequency, because we set the bar pretty high. So like that's been my process these last few months. Actually, has.
Dear God, you told me not to fix, judge, or impose the good news on a people. Rather, as Christians, you've convicted me to love by walking in love, here by faith, not by sight. For the longest time, I had wanted to create love story my way, both personally and professionally. It seems that doing it my way sometimes leaves people feeling bitter, resentful, and floating astray. Dr. Jordan Peterson calls it creating a life lie. Page 210, 12 Rules for Life. Someone living a life lie is attempting to manipulate reality with perception, thought, and action, so that only some narrowly desired and predefined outcome is allowed to exist. This is a life lie, and it stems from a system close to George Orwell's 1984, a testimony to Maoist communist culture. I now understand how this has shaped my parents' upbringing and the collective inheritors of a fear-based, ego-driven, collective group for status and power. Dear God, please take away the bitterness, fear, and feelings of not good enough from my heart. Please renew my spirit, renew my heart, renew my mind, body, and soul. Loose endurance, compassion, kindness, and patience in my heart. The fruits that I once had lain were bitter, and I surrender my heart to you to renew so that the fruits can become better. 3 wise women, Miss Myra, Miss Faye, and Miss Rose, sat me down today and told me to sit with you, to commune with you, to meditate with you. The biggest lesson I'm learning is to learn how to wait for your response. It will come as a conviction from Holy Spirit. I am very excited for this, and I know you know what's in my heart, for you have already planted the good seed in me, for me to build what you have already designed me to do. Today you gave me 1 Corinthians 9:19 through 24 to meditate on. Now I'm beginning to understand that how my communication lands for people is more important than the attachment I have for them to understand where I'm coming from. This is love that doesn't serve the self. Truth must be communicated, and how it gets communicated is everything. I made marketing wrong, but marketing is exactly that. How it's presented is just as important than what's inside the present. Jordan Peterson said, "It is our responsibility to see what is before our eyes, courageously, and to learn from it, even if it seems horrible, even if the horror of seeing it damages our consciousness and half blinds us. The act of seeing is particularly important when it challenges what we know and rely on, upsetting and destabilizing us. It is the act of seeing that informs the individual and updates the state. It was for this reason that Nietzsche said that a man's worth was determined by how much truth he could tolerate. You are by no means only what you already know. You are also that which you could know, if you only would. Thus, you should never sacrifice what you could be for what you are. You should never give up the better that resides within for the security you already have, and certainly not when you have already caught a glimpse, an undeniable glimpse of something beyond." Page 223, 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos by Dr. Jordan Peterson.